Pretty people, welcome to part number 2 of Day 9 Daily number 486, where we learn to be a better gamer from everyone involved in this game, ThorZaIN. In part number 1, we got the chance to see... Try that sentence one more time. In part number 1, we got the chance to go through ThorZaIN's opening, see what it was, why there were some weaknesses here and there, but most importantly, the big attack at 10 minutes gives us all the time that we really need to be able to get our expand up, get our extra barracks up, do etc. And now we're looking at things from the Protoss point of view. Most notably, what we did at the end of part number 1 is we looked at how, at the 7:30 mark, let's just go through it again hyper briefly. We've seen nothing, we've seen nothing, we've seen nothing. Okay, nothing. Excellent. Let's just get the Robo Bay then, because we've seen no attack come out at all. Okay, and now watch all the cool vision coverage that happens. Observer goes north. Stalker is going to cut up to the top side. This Stalker down here is going to move up. Alright, see here. Bam. We see what's up in the main base. We have this vision coverage here. So you know what? Let's go ahead and get 2 forges because I still don't see anything. Some very nice powering out of Hasu, and all we've really done is build some units. Very small number of units at the front. And now we get what's up. Hasu's really good about this sort of thing. And we're going to go up to the 10-minute mark. And amazingly, due to the fact that we got these 2 gas geysers up right when our warp gate research finished, we have enough gas to be getting this little combo thing here. So I'll note that this isn't exactly lined up. We may have built one too many sentries to be able to get this up, but the idea is not the perfection of the timing from Hasu, because there's clearly some imperfection. The concept is, wow, I didn't see frickin' anything in the middle of the screen. So I'll get 2 forges, and when I have enough money, I'll be able to make use of them. Does look like one of the observers was picked off, so Hasu's going to pull back and likely try to park it around here. Or, of course, at the front there. Anything that gets caught off guard, Hasu's going to be all on top of. Now, in terms of general timing, the most standard thing to note is that 10 minutes is when all the good timings happen from Terran. That's when, if they rushed for stim, that's when stim went down. If they rushed for medevacs, that's when the medevacs will be up. 10 minutes is when big scary things happen. So you'll notice that Hasu is getting his 1 Colossus out at 10 minutes. Still has just 3 gateways. Does have this 2-2 up. But Hasu is feeling pretty damn comfortable because he has this up at 10 minutes. 10 freaking minutes, you guys. 10 minutins. So now we're going to hit the part in the game where we're going to just be looking at things from all points of view. And also, let me see if I can... Looks like I can't change the colors. It can be hard to see some of the stuff on this mini-map, but no freaking big deal. I'll also note, look at how far to the left side all these critical structures are. It's very easy to like go forge, robo, and then for a drop like this to just kill off both your forges. Hasu is impeccable with his building placement. And all you really have to do is look at the map once and think, where's the safest place for my forge things to go? And then just build it there every game. I don't know why I keep going. I saw this frickin' terrible horror movie last night. Intentionally, I wanted to see a terrible horror movie. I totally got scared and shrieked like a girl, but there was this one 80s style, you know, huge baggy plaid shirt all in bright pastel colors with bright red socks, purple pants, green shirt, fluorescent neon yellow and blue shoes, and he kept going, and I've picked it up. Most useless thing to pick up. Thank God for The Gate. What a film that was. So yeah, here is where we're going to step into broad analysis of TVP. And the concept I want to just grace along is that what if both players are in fantastic shape where does your edge come from? From Terran and Protoss point of view. Where is that edge? We'll see answers from both. Drop happens here. This little fleet of units is going to be very useful for popping over to the expansion if need be. And Hasu just pulls away, and because he has a Colossus, he's going to be pretty comfortable in terms of picking this off. I mean, really, not that much has been taken out. The more damaging push is actually this one at the front. And this looks, I mean, this very clearly is suicidal, just killing this off. Continuing to tease this drop. Why are we doing this? Remember in part 1 I said 12 minutes is the first moment when these barracks will really be operational. We're still trying to buy some time to be able to do that. But most notably what we'll see out of ThorZaIN, when he does this 10-minute push that has both stim and a +1 upgrade, he'll see Colossus tech, or he'll see Templar tech. And that is when he can choose either to build Starport number 2 or to build the Ghost Academy. This was freaking awesome by HasuObs, and one of the reasons why he's a scary player. He's just good. He's just good. Alright, in order. Our next goals as Protoss going to be to get the Twilight Council and the 3 extra gateways. For the simple reason of we need the Twilight Council to get 2-2 started, and we need 6 gateways so that way we can have warp-ins to be able to deal with a player that has medevacs out. If we have only 3 gateways, then we actually can't attack, because we just kind of need to have units pre-positioned well. And somewhat intuitively, Hasu just expands now that he has finally deflected this pressure. Sometimes you'll see Protosses not really expand. And that's because there's still a ton of pressure barreling down their front gates. No big deal. Expand when it's comfortable. And I think that a lot of players now are just always auto-default blink. They're just auto-blinkers. They just get blink, and I like that. I think blink is great. I think it's nifty. It's a lot easier to manage wide-open spaces. Now, I'm going to make just a general connection that's useful across any matchup. Wow, that word didn't arrive in my brain very quickly. Across any matchup, if I have map control enough to take a 3rd base, I probably have map control enough to build pylons in other places. It's very common to want to build pylons out on the map, and it's also very easy for them to just get killed. But what we see out of HasuObs is that he's killed this little push off. He's starting to be able to move out into the middle of the map. So Hasu is going to do a nice classic maneuver, which is all our Zealot Sentry and Colossus are in one location, and all the Stalkers are out doing good stuff. This is the classic look of the Gosu toss. Positioning things just to be able to maybe check out if there's expansions, but having the Colossus Zealot Sentry positioned over hither or whatnot, and just doing the general cleanup. Now, in a lot of older circumstances, what players would be doing now is they would be getting Charge and the Templar Archives, and they would be adding on 5 to 8, how many is this, 6? Yeah, they'd probably be adding on 5 to 7 more gateways or so. And then be going Zealot Archon. Hasu's going to be playing it a little slower. He's going to be sticking to the 6 gateways, and he's just going to be pulling back and playing a little more defensively. He teased an attack by moving up northward, and I'll actually show this one more time. Right here, this moment where things are starting to move up, this is the same moment when these pylons are going down, and that's pretty significant. Hasu's just moving his army up in a position where it could protect these pylons, it could interact with them, and then he sees the holy shit number of Vikings, and he just goes home. That's great. And this is the moment that I actually think is weird. This is just odd as hell from ThorZaIN. ThorZaIN gets so many Vikings, and then follows it up with so many Ghosts, and just doesn't have a lot of Marine Marauder in general. It's weird. It's freaking odd, but it ends up working out magnificently if your control is super ultra mega top notch. So So I like this from ThorZaIN. He's just continuing to stockpile until he has, 12 to 16 of the Vikings. So that way he can start really one-shotting Colossus, especially if he gets an EMP off. And that's kind of significant to note. A lot of times it's the Colossus will poach up to the front a little bit just to try to pick off ghosts. And if they're at the front, you can hit him with an EMP and you don't need as many Vikings to one-shot him down. But Hasu just continues to do these nice little push forwards, and in all circumstances, he's comfortable leading with the Stalkers because he can blink them back at any time. And gets really aggressive with his Stalkers. And this is one of the first edges I want to talk about that Hasu's going to exploit all mid-game long, is that as long as he has these blink Stalkers, he just leads with them constantly. Super, hyper, mega active army. Colossus continue to be joined, but not much more than 2 or 3 Colossus. Think of how early this Robo Bay went down. It went down at 7 minutes and 30 seconds. After another 7 minutes and 30 seconds have passed, we only have 3 Colossus out? Yeah, that's because Hasu is getting just enough out to help him deal with these, with the Marine Marauder force. And that's another one of the reasons why Hasu gets the Blink Stalker first. He needs to keep these Colossus alive, so he needs some tool to be able to do that while he's transitioning. So rather than Archon, favoring Storm first. And of course 3-3 is just good as hell. And ThorZaIN's position is not actually very complex. He's in a great position, but it's not a complex position. He's just building Vikings 3 at a time, building Ghosts 3 at a time, and trying to get up a really nice mix. And I would probably say that 6 Ghosts seems like a reasonable time to move out. Yeah. So, I guess right as this Zealot is starting to do its goody good stuff, right around now is where I want to pause and note the pain. Alright, this is the moment where you say, what do you do? What do you do as both these players? What the hell do you do in order to get an edge? Okay, let's just come look at the game state. Let's look at the game state. Alright, we have Vikings that are... You know what, I can let this go for 9 more seconds. Just to make my point more clear. Oh, this is obviously bad. Alright, we have 1-0 Vikings. We have 1-1 Marines that are about to be 2-2 Marines. And I'll come back to this position as well. I wanted it to be nicely lined up, but whatever. Okay. We have Vikings about to be 1-0. We have basic ground army about to be 2-2. We have enough medevacs to heal us. And we have ghosts about to be doubled in count. And we have our 3 bases. We haven't even really been that messed with. Look at all the various X lost tabs, 7 workers, and that's it. Alright, well, easy. What about from the Protoss' point of view? We have 2-2, 3 3s on the way. We have Storm, we have a lot of gates. Where are our extra gateways? I think they're over here. Yep, there's gateways 7 and 8. What do you do? What do you do? What on earth do you do? This is the thing that I talked about at the start of part number 1 that I'll re-emphasize again. Almost always, what the position Protosses are in are that they're about to be maxed, and Terran couldn't be more unprepared, and the maxed army just crushes. And more often than not, the Terran who's in a good position will get this force, move out and attack, and win. So what the hell do you do? Huh. Cool, here we go. An important question is, do we expand towards or away from our opponent? I like this technique from HasuObs to sort of dynamically identify that this expansion, what is the farthest one away from it? Well, it would be this one, or this one. Now, on this map, it's kind of obvious that this is a comfortable position to take a 4th base, but sometimes it's very reasonable to take this one as a 4th base. For instance, what if ThorZaIN weirdly took this as his 3rd? I would much prefer, actually on this map specifically, I'd still almost always prefer this. But on many maps, consider this. If you expand here, look at the angle of attack for the Terran. Fortunately, ThorZaIN's going to show it. Look at the minimap. You see this angle of attack moving downward? Angle of attack moves this way. This leaves this left flank completely wide open. This is one of the cool things that we will see Hasu do all game long. He just has these little warp-ins. And notice, this is not close. This is not close at all. He's going to have to walk a really long way to get there. However, look on the minimap. See this line of attack? It's completely wide open because of the fact that this is the vulnerable expansion. Per usual, where's another basic tactical edge you can get? You just have Blink Stalkers, and look at how ridiculously aggressive Hasu is with them. He keeps them around very long. There's a little bit of a flood here. But, per usual, Hasu will pull back and try to extend his edge up here. Some other basic stuff, you can build a cannon here and a cannon here, but there's really not too much dramatic stuff going on. ThorZaIN, I think, is going to have an easier time with this battle management. It's very, very difficult to do as a Protoss. There's no shame in throwing down force fields like this and just trying to do your best to stay alive. But Hasu will emphasize Stalkers over a lot of Zealots. He has a good amount of them, but it's the Vikings he needs to, worry about at this point in time. And Hasu is not trying. So, just basic quiz question, why is Hasu not obsessing over killing this off? For one, this is his edge. Remember, he's going along this attack path to the third. And you can force this too, like on Tal'Darim Altar, expand in a location where, if he went to attack it, then Terran's most recent expansions would be vulnerable. And this is what I found to be particularly brilliant from Hasu. Good general tactics like the Zealot leading forward, but it was this, Dark Shrine going down. This ends up being that big key that helps him win the game. So again, you're noticing, leading with the Stalkers. This is actually easy to do because Stalkers are just faster than everything else. And per usual, we haven't gotten the chance to talk too much about ThorZaIN because of a lot of interestingness going on. But just leading with the Vikings always, keeping everything in separate control groups, 1, 2, and 3. And eventually 4 if you want for some sort of dropping thing. And even though ThorZaIN is getting kind of the edge in the midst of these exchanges, in terms of these direct army exchanges, HasuObs is just forced to cancel here. I'll even go back and show it, because hell, why not? This is so great! And this was all opened up because HasuObs made this the focus. This area down here. Not leading with any of his Templar, and even though Hasu is behind in the supply count, he's still in a pretty good position. Now, I haven't talked that much about the tactics that ThorZaIN has at his disposal. If you have a lot of Vikings, sure, it makes him a little more timid with his Colossus, which it looks like he doesn't have any more of, but also scanning and then just killing any observer becomes just a piece of cake. And honestly, this is the moment in gameplay when many Terrans just stop muling for long periods of time. Look at this constant Zealot play, moving up to the top side. Rest of the army positioned down here. And it seems a little bit unbalanced. You know, like all the Protoss army is down here and there's none up here, but that's fine. He has vision control over here. What if the Terran player is moving this way? Well, that's great. We as Protoss now have a safer expansion because he's moving away from our expansion. Now, in this position, I generally like to think that dropping can begin to be a Terran player's best friend. This is one of the stylistic things that makes ThorZaIN unique as a player, is that he just doesn't really drop because he's building so ridiculously many Vikings. And it seems like overkill, but the fact is, he will always be able to one-shot Colossi, and with the number of ghosts that he builds, he will almost certainly never let his ghosts die, because he just kills off the observers. Cloaking is suddenly one of the most important abilities that ThorZaIN has at his disposal. And then these little DT counter-attacky thingies. This is the big edge that we see Hasu just begin to exploit nonstop. And once again, oh hey, it has the added bonus of, even though we do get these amazing worker kills, the most important thing is that it makes this expansion super, super safe. And there are some High Templar just peppering around everywhere. I think he even has one in the main this game. Nope, I'm mistaken. He has them over at the natural. He has them over at the third. And just continued waltzes in up to this angle. And denying of this expansion. Now this is a period in the game where suddenly the army is up here for ThorZaIN. And Hasu responds by halting the warp in of this counterattack focused Zealot Dark Templar stuff. He just stops that completely and then gets himself up into the position to go hit this expansion. This is a really tricky spot for Hasu. I'm focusing a lot on Hasu at this point in the game just because ThorZaIN for the most part has some real clarity with what he's doing. He's just keeping his stuff bunched together and trying to get into an engagement. But ordinarily, this is a very risky move as Protoss. This is, I think, one of the biggest things that makes Hasu just awesome. This is a very difficult, very scary thing to do, to move up here, because often you'll be leaving yourself completely vulnerable. But that's what these pylons do. These little warp-in attacks that put pressure here means that Hasu knows where the entire army for ThorZaIN is located. He knows it's here, and he's just going to deny the fort and then pull back and snake his way all the way down along the bottom side. Per usual, just emphasizing Blinkstalkers leading everything, sniping the ghosts and sniping the Vikings. And look at how safe a retreat path he goes for. I just thought this was cool. He always has a pylon where his army's walking. Look how instantly Hasu retreats back to the immediate attack response from ThorZaIN. And in ThorZaIN's shoes, this is really the response that you have to do. You must be putting on pressure. The Terran army actually, pound for pound, is better than the maxed Protoss army. I'm going to repeat that again because I know a lot of people just think that's a lie, but I'll say it. A maxed Terran army is pound for pound better than a maxed Protoss army, assuming that the Terran has a good composition. The Marauder is kind of like the Roach in that you don't really want to be maxed with a lot of them. The Marines, Ghosts, and Vikings are the money ones. So that's why the Terran really wants to try to force engagements. It's much trickier. So I'll slow it down. It's much trickier for the Protoss player to maneuver his stuff. The big tool that Hasu has at his disposal here are the photon cannons, because he's going to be losing a lot of observers. It would be kind of cool to have a nuke here, but I really don't care too much about that. The Ghosts and the Vikings want to be at the front. The Ghosts, when they're at the front, deter everything else from advancing except the Colossus. And that's when the Vikings can step in. So the Marine Marauder are actually at the back of the army. Right now this is just a simple 1-click, 2-click, 3-click for the 1, 2, 3 control groups. But this sort of pressure is really similar. This is really similar to what we were talking about at the 10-minute mark, right around doink here. Yeah. These 3 barracks being constructed, this buys time for it. It's almost the same story over back here. And as we look, just to note, you're seeing that ThorZaIN is actually 50 supply behind, and yet still has a much more expensive army. This is what makes a really deadly maxed Terran army composition. It's ridiculously difficult to control, which is why we have this battle to help us show how to break it down. So the first scan, interestingly, is to target down the observer. That's the good one. That's the real money one. What does this do? It means that the Ghosts can now cloak and lead the army. And all the Marine Marauder can pull back. Obviously, we want to hit the spellcasters, but the Colossus end up being a pretty significant target as well. Ghosts are staying put in the midst of all this. Vikings trying to stay alive as well. And then here come all the EMPs. We see some big ones going down on the Colossus. Sure, we don't want to get force fielded too hard, but I mean, look at how not that many ground units ThorZaIN has. There's really not that many units. And yet still we get all the Templar. It's really easy to one-shot the Colossus. And Ghost suddenly can be part of the unit's target firing the Colossus. And all you really have to do with the Marine Marauder is run away from the Colossus. And suddenly, ThorZaIN is looking pretty good. I mean, we lost all our Vikings. That's a little unfortunate. We obviously would like to keep those, but look at how tiny this army is from ThorZaIN. And yet how it's able to deal with this very large army of Zealot Stalker. That's the real power of having a lot of ghosts. Cool. I want to just come back to the start of this battle just to show some of the other stuff going down. We see that there's quite a big lead in terms of the units lost, but it just goes very nicely with the Terran there. And continues to go nicely in the midst of the small stages. This was a nice little equalizing moment for ThorZaIN. So we got to see some maxed army control. In part 3, what I'm going to do is talk a little bit about where I think things went a little bit awry for ThorZaIN, and what potentially could have been a touch different. And then I think after that we'll be done. Yeah.